So, seems to be working. We're going to be trying to watch this video by Marqeuis Brownlee here about AI, in particular Apple's AI crisis. I guess they got kind of late to the party, but he says it's not uncommon.
Giant company is late to massive technological shift, fails to adapt.
Maybe from my own perspective on AI, look, I guess I just don't think it'll ever really be like what people imagine it to be in their hopes and dreams, like an actual sentient thing. It's kind of conjecture, but it feels like if it is, it'll be more of a Deus ex machina or a type of emergent reality more than the sum of its parts. Like it will be the result of an accident of some sort, not us intentionally creating life. There's this kind of maybe an intuitive, almost law of nature that the thing that is created is lesser than the thing that creates it, right? So I tend to think that that's almost applicable to the idea of robots, that whatever we create will be of lesser complexity, of to some extent, than we ourselves are. But hey, we'll see. I might be wrong.
Falls behind and never recovers, dies.
Not for the record, I'm not stating that it's not interesting, like what they can do with AI. But perhaps in my mind, I guess the term AI is actually a misnomer.
That is a tale as old as time, and it does repeat itself. Now, Apple is the biggest tech company in the world. They're worth $3 trillion.
That looks like a hippie community. Only thing that's marring it is that the thing is surrounding it. So it's a tech hippie community.
They have more cash on hand than anyone could ever spend.
Cult. That's it. Here's the cult leader.
They are extremely successful in many categories.
With his unnaturally white hair.
Taken down many other tech companies along the way. But now the year is 2025, and between missed deadlines and deleted commercials, it seems like even they are having some troubles with an emerging technology.
DEI.
It is fascinating to watch. So artificial intelligence. You guys don't need me to say it.
It feels like, in a weird way, kind of AI is the new Bluetooth. It's the new, like, buzzword that everyone's like, AI something something, AI something something. It's like I don't know, the latest fashion in the tech world, I guess. Tack it on to anything you can, and, that'll make it seem cool.
You already know the explosion of consumer AI in the past couple years has been nuts. How many times have you heard those two letters next to each other? So suddenly, everyone for the past 2, 3, 4 years has been talking a lot more about AI. And 2 years doesn't even really sound like that long, but tech moves fast. Remember Skype? Remember how Skype was like the default for online video calling, and then the pandemic happened in 2020?
Yeah, I don't think I ever used it, but I remember it existing. And then during the pandemic, he goes into this, but during the pandemic, Zoom is the new rising star.
And then like 2 years later, everyone used Zoom.
Personally, I just don't like talking to people over tech stuff. I like being in person. It feels like there's a lot of language that maybe can't be appropriately communicated over something like stuff like that.
How did they blow that? Like, that's how fast tech moves. Now, Apple is a lot bigger than Skype.
Do you want something weird? I had cousins growing up. This is a strange thing. You can see, like, with white people, you don't notice it, but, like, I think the palm part of your hand is actually different somehow than the skin part, and the pigmentation, I think, is different. You can see this on people with darker skin, where they have, like, a very distinct line between the palm of their hand and then the normal pigmentation of their skin.
But none of these companies are immune. Like, every one of these big public tech companies, all these companies are beholden to making as much money as possible. They have shareholders, they have investors, and if they don't think you're doing everything you can to grow as much as possible, they're...
For the record, I still have my cousins. They weren't just cousins when I was growing up. It's probably a needless distinction.
Not going to be happy. So when a certain ChatGPT comes along and gets 100 million users in 2 months and seems to prove that AI is definitely the next frontier of consumer technology, well, then you start seeing a lot of tech companies suddenly talking a lot more about AI. So,
It does feel like it's been the last bang. I hate my stupid voice. The last bandwagon that everyone's been getting on, kind of.
now you're Apple, and this is all happening, all eyes are on you. There's a lot of pressure to show some sort of AI something. Now, there is some conventional wisdom that would say, hey, Apple, take a second, sit back, relax, do your typical second mover thing. You don't have to rush this. Because there are a lot of examples where Apple is not necessarily first to something, they sort of sit back and let someone else do the working on it and the maturing of the technology.
Something to be said for that type of mentality, though. It's a little bit of a carrion crow type of persona, but it still works. So hard to argue with it.
Happens, and then
Let someone else take the real risks, and then it does feel like though there would be also risks inherent with that in that the first person to the gold mine gets the mother lode, so to speak, the lion's share. Man, that's a better metaphor.
then they jump in and implement it their own way. So they were not first to do OLEDs in their phones. They were not first to do wireless earbuds. They were not first to make a tablet. The iPhone itself is a perfect example. There were so many other smartphones before the iPhone, but they just executed on it in a way that differentiated them so well that people wanted theirs. The thing is, this second mover strategy is very much a hardware strategy, at least it typically has been. And this AI thing is different. It has very much just been these companies iterating as fast as possible and just moving and trying to...
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, like the thing that had kind of Apple set apart was not that they were creating the software themselves, but they were better at creating the actual like chips and miniaturizing all of this stuff in such a way and maybe implementing it. In this case, it's not a question of hardware so much as it is just like a pure form of innovation, a kingdom of thought. Wow, that sounded dramatic.
Implement as much as they can with these little on-device models to give people whatever useful features they can come up with. And just throw them out there.
I'm thinking about starting to run on the treadmill again. I need to drop my belly fat.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's total BS.
So on a Google device, that looks like Circle to Search and Gemini Assistant and Gemini Live and the Add Me camera feature.
For the record, I don't really use anything. I don't even use Siri. I'm kind of a Luddite in that way. I just like looking up stuff myself. But this is kind of cool, though, that you can add yourself in a photo.
That lets you take two pictures and fuse them together to get everyone in the group shot. Stuff like that. On a Samsung device, that's Galaxy
interesting.
AI. You know, they have things like that really impressive object removal. On a Windows 11 computer, that's going to look like Copilot. You know, adding an AI editor into Microsoft Paint, stuff like that. Now, certainly, not all of this has gone super smoothly. There's been plenty of weird, rocky launches with companies like the recall feature from Windows. Got some backlash and people didn't love. Lots of stuff has not been ideal. There have even been whole startups that were born and died just trying to jump on the AI bandwagon as best they can. But at this point...
I feel like it might be one of those little things that you would just talk to and ask questions that they had been doing back in the day. I don't know if they ever caught on, really.
Basically, every big tech company has something that they do that they can...
Well, I got in the idea it was just kind of like you would connect to Wi-Fi or cell service, and then the meat of the thing was not in the device itself, which would be kind of cool, like a self-contained device that you could just ask stuff, but that it was just connecting to something else, really.
Point at and be like, all right, look, see, we do AI. You can see we're being useful to our customers, so you investors can relax. We're on the forefront of it now. So then, what does Apple do? Well, same idea, right? At WWDC 2024, they announced Apple Intelligence, which again is just a branding umbrella term for all the AI stuff they're going to do across iPhones and iPads and Macs, things that involve using generative models and large language models. On the surface, it's kind of along the same lines. A couple silly features here and there.
No, that's probably not, and that's probably as good a place as any to stop. Like, I think at the end of the day, like I remember what I said at first part. I do believe that, but I also think that what you get with this AI is a lot of cool little devices, which they can be useful. They can be really, really good, but I don't think we're going to get that sci-fi-esque, robots taking over the world type of thing. I kind of doubt it. But yeah, like I said, I think what you're going to get is a lot of these cool little devices that make people's lives easier and allow them to, edit stuff in a better way, allow them to create art, allow them to create designs, which is probably worth pursuing in and of itself. Alright, I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please press the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to.